Hello, YouTube. Free Tendies Fantasy, Yanni and Ted, back to do our nightly draft or two on Underdog in the amazing Puppy 3 draft. Ted is with me today. Ted, how are you, my friend?
What's going on, guys? I would just like to share with the fans that Jonah Coleman is going to be a complete and utter zero this year. And if you draft him, you will be dropping him by like week two.
I like that you put it on video. Okay, let's
I
get
can't
going.
imagine the confidence to think Jonah Coleman's going to do a single thing this year.
Let's allow notifications. Yeah, I mean, it just depends. One, it depends what you think of the prospect. Two, it depends what you think of Dobbins' odds of finishing a season, which he's never done. And then three, it depends. Do you think they would workhorse Harvey if Dobbins went down? If you don't think Dobbins can finish a season, which he's never done, if you don't think they'll workhorse Harvey, which he was actually pretty bad as a between the tackles runner last year, and then you do think Jonah Coleman's a good prospect. He's an absolute crush as a running back five, especially in redraft where you can just drop him and pick up someone else later.
I don't know, man. Like, if you're going to draft some speculative running back, right?
Yeah,
Why would you draft the one that has to jump through like four hoops when you can draft something simple like a Marshawn Lloyd,
yeah,
who, if Josh Jacobs goes down, that's just where you get your value,
yeah. I don't have a
right? But
problem.
instead, you're like with all the conditionals. Well, J.K. Dobbins has to go down, and they don't have to workhorse Harvey. It seems like you're jumping through a lot of hoops to just get the exciting rookie
Well, for me,
on your team.
it's that I think Harvey's a good receiving back. So like I think if Dobbins goes down, it's as simple as I think Jonah Coleman's a good player and he would take early down work, and I think Harvey would take some early down work in the receiving role. So I just sort of look at it like an arbitrage play against Dobbins' health. It's really a one condition leg for me. Just do I think Dobbins can finish the season? If not, I want a lot of exposure to Jonah Coleman and RJ Harvey. I draft a lot of RJ Harvey too. It's not, but it's it's again, yeah. You're talking about like mid round running back handcuffs. Like it's very rarely are you like, hey, here's a clear mid round draft pick running back handcuffs. It's very rarely it's like, hey, here's a clear straight line path to this guy getting a lot of work.
I'll draft some RJ Harvey, not before the likes of Chuba Hubbard, number one, which, by the way, the Flock boys were kind of all unanimously out on Chuba Hubbard this year. I can't wait for them to have egg on their faces. And then, like, when you start getting into, like, the RJ Harvey territory, you get into, like, the Blake Corums, the Kyle Manung guys, like, those type of guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you can draft him anywhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Manung guy's my favorite one out of those, but, like, Harvey Corum's, like, a toss-up to me.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hope with the Puka suspension and injury news, he slides to six. That would be pretty fun. Seems like McCaffrey has become. Nope, there goes Puka. Seems like McCaffrey is becoming an increasing fixture up here. Okay, we get JSN at six. We will take that.
Dude, we got a James Cook at 5 overall guy. Let's go.
Oh man, he's been getting so much steam. He's been getting so much steam on Facebook on Twitter. Yeah, I think that's great. I love what the coaching staff did. Again, please see my 10 players priced at their floor article. Of course, the first comment I got on Reddit was, how can you say that James Cook is priced at his floor as the RB6, where his career positional finish high is? He got 14 rushing touchdowns last year. Where is there more juice to squeeze? It's very straightforward to me where there's more juice to squeeze in the James Cook thesis. Did I say RJ Harvey when I said that? I feel like I said RJ Harvey because we were just saying him. I don't remember. Anyway, the James Cook thesis. He is currently playing for a offensive coordinator, now turned head coach, who architectured the Alvin Kamara year 1 and 2 under Sean Payton, in which he saw 205 receptions, including a rookie year where he was a part-time player. James Cook had an elite receiving profile out of college. The beat report has been reporting seeing all sorts of Texas routes in breaking deep over the middle and middle of the field, intermediate to deep in breaking routes for the running backs being run in practice all the time. If that's the case, folks, and we get like, I believe he had under 30 receptions last year, or right around 30 receptions. If James Cook gets up in the 50 to 60 reception range, he will be right there with the Bijan Robinsons and Jameer Gibbs of the world. I feel fantastic with him as my running back three. To me, it's getting to the point where it's now a toss up between him and JSN and Amon-Ra, the five hole. For me, I'm totally fine if you want to do it. It's getting harder and harder for me to click Jonathan Taylor over him. I'm very comfortable in that take. I think the fantasy community will come around, but it is interesting that that is one I get the most pushback to. I think he is seen as conglomerated into that round two blob of running back, and in my opinion, he's a fundamentally different fantasy asset. And then with his age, like the age that he is and the mileage he is, I prefer him by a lot to Christian McCaffrey or Jonathan Taylor. So very comfy click for me. I'll go down with the ship on that one and live my life in shame if it goes south, but I'm comfortable doing so.
Oh, I'm riding with you on that take, brother.
Yeah.
One of my other takes that is just aged like fine wine now, apparently. And I don't want to victory lap too early, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers released their depth chart today, and Jalen McMillan was listed as the starting X, Ted Hurst as his backup.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ted Hurst is the sacrificial X dream may be dead. I still think Ted Hurst might be involved, especially if Igbuka is banged up or whatever. I think Igbuka and Godwin are both out of practice right now, so there's a world where Ted Hurst gets involved, but not before my boy Jalen McMillan, who I was checking my exposures. I have 30% Jalen McMillan, which is an outrageously irresponsible amount of Jalen McMillan, and I didn't even know I had done that. So I'm all in, I guess.
Yeah, for those that do not know, the depth charts being released right now are actually done by the social media teams, the media, like the media team in general for the teams. They are not official team depth charts. So in general, I think they're good. I still think they matter, but try not to get too excited about like what a social media dude throws online. But yeah, I probably would expect McMillan to be ahead of Hurst initially. I just, to me, I think one, McMillan's had some trouble staying healthy, but it's really just one injury. Like it's one big injury he had. It's not like this chronic thing. Do we get a little Rashi Rice fall? Are people nervous enough about Rashi Rice to push him to 30? Okay. Okay. So that's a Jackson Smith and Jigba, AJ Brown, Rashi Rice start. Seems kind of fun.
Love that. Love that. Take advantage of the people who take 10-second camp clips is completely 100% predictive of what you're doing this season.
Yeah. Yeah, again, dude, I am you know my thing with, I mean, Lad McConkey over Rice. This guy's definitely interesting. I look, I kind of like the start. It's funky. Cook, Bowers, McConkey. If you believe in him, do it. My only thing with Rice is I want to know from the team's perspective that they've evaluated him as a full go. If he's like limited on like, if we're drafting in 2 weeks and he's still limited and still hasn't been full go, it just depends. Like, how seriously should you take that? It's really hard to say definitively, but he's played 12 games in 2 years. If he's limited going into draft season, yeah, I'm going to be pretty nervous about pulling that trigger there. But the upside is just so great, and ultimately, right, he should be healthy. It's just a little bit, for me, it's a little bit scary as your second round pick or your third round pick to take a guy who has a pretty extensive injury history at this point and is limited to start the season. So we'll see.
He has one injury and got suspended for 6 games for crashing his car.
No, he doesn't. He got injured multiple times last year to the point where he couldn't finish the season. He has a season-ending knee injury before that, and then had a separate knee scope this offseason. He had he had a season.
I thought he got pulled from just because the Chiefs were out of it. Is that not true?
Concussions, and then he had a knee procedure as a result of how banged up he was.
Okay, let me look. Yeah, so it says Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice, 25 season. It's impacted by the LCL 24 injury. Yep, 6-game suspension, obviously, and then season-ending concussion.
Mm-hmm.
So that
and then the separate knee cleanup, the separate knee procedure.
The separate knee cleanup was related to the LCL, right? So he didn't sustain another injury. It's just the same injury, but he had a cleanup on it, and he got concussed. In my opinion, if the Chiefs were in games that mattered in any way, shape, or form, he was playing last year. But the Chiefs, that's when they were rolling out. God, who was their quarterback?
Oh,
do you remember him? He was
I reached way
so
on.
Bad.
I reached way on Swift there. I didn't realize I was at 43. But Josh Jacobs went. I'm kind of cool off ETN, but I probably would have taken ETN there and tried to come around to get Swift. Whatever. We anchor with DeAndre Swift. Yeah, I mean, it just depends. So traditionally for medical timelines, a cleanup procedure does actually set you back. Like it's that was part of the discussion with neighbors. So even if it was a cleanup of the same injury, the fact that the same injury needed to be cleaned up a year later, I would just say is like, so now he's had a 2-year knee injury, if you want to say that instead of one injury. That's not less, that's not more reassuring to me. Um, but still, like so, 12 games out of a possible 40 over 2 years, and then currently limited. For whether you want to say it was from an injury that lingered 2 years or from one injury that had to be operated on twice over 2 years plus concussions, to me that's not good. You're getting into the point where I think it's fair to say there's a bit of an injury history there. Is all I'm saying.
Well, it's the one injury, and I wonder, right? Because Rasheed Rice is pretty good last year. You would agree, right? 18.8 fantasy points per game. That's pretty good
That's why I
from a
had
wide receiver,
that's
right? Like
that,
why.
that's why I had 65% roster exposure. Yes, very good.
Well, you were smarter than me in the sense that you were betting on him just being automatically the wide receiver one. I was the sucker who bought into the late season breakout, which is an archetype that fantasy managers seem to love this year. Yeah, it was Chris Aludicune, by the way. That's who
Chris
they were trotting out there. Chris Aludicune,
for trot. I'm sorry, trotting out for who? What are we talking about?
the Chiefs, at the end of the year.
Oh
When
yeah. I remember that.
I'm
Okay.
looking at his line here against the Broncos. He went 13 of 22 for 66 yards and one touchdown.
Oh, cool.
It's
Thank you. Okay. Uh,
pretty bad.
Sorry, we're getting a good bunch of payments rolling in from free Tendies leagues. Thank you guys so much. I've been messaging people now. I hate being this guy, but I've been sending people the message right when they join, like, "Hey, we're clearing out accounts that are not paying. Can you please go ahead and pay, like, so I don't boot you?" And most people have actually paid right away, which is nice. I haven't gotten a lot of shit on that. I kind of expected people to like tell me to go screw when I do that. It has not
You can
happened too
count on
much.
you can count on Pat not paying until the last second. You can
Yeah,
just pencil that one in.
Yeah, but again, like I don't care about like that's not the issue for me. I just need to know that those spots are getting covered. Like if you don't want to, oh, okay, so wait, we're at a weird in between spot right away. I'm not going to be able to get Drake May on the comeback probably, and I really want that stack with AJ Brown. If you're taking AJ Brown, you should stack Drake May. Yeah, no, he's not going down to 78. So this will be a Drake May pick for us if the chips fall that way. Very good wide receiver base. JSN, AJ Brown, Rasheed Rice. I'm still high on Baishal Tutin, but I am certainly getting a little nervous about the reports. But we get him at the end of that RB2 tier, which I still think is great. Pair him with reliable, boring volume in DeAndre Swift, who was last year's RB9, by the way. Probably deserves a little more respect in the fourth and fifth round than he's getting. Okay. Drake May stacked with AJ Brown, Rasheed Rice, JSN, DeAndre Swift, Baishal Tutin. Pretty excited about that start.
Sorry, I was opening up the chat. I didn't have it open.
Yeah, there you go.
We didn't miss anything yet, though, so that's the good news. I was going to be frustrated at you if you pulled Drake May over Lamar Jackson. They're at the 6-7, but Lamar went right before. So
It's hard to say. I know
You're
that
okay.
I know that some rankers. God, look at that gorgeous start. Brown, Jacobs, Amon-Ra, Flowers, Odunze, Lamar. I know that some rankers do have May over Lamar. For me, that is still firmly Lamar over May. There's not a world where it's certainly in redraft. I mean, best ball is a little different because you want your stacks. There's not really a world for me in redraft where I would take Drake May or Jaden Daniels ahead of Lamar. I think that's a little silly. Vegas still likes them to be one of the best offenses in the league. Lamar is still one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the history of the game. He was pacing to have the greatest fantasy season in NFL history last year, coming off of one of the best fantasy seasons ever. I don't know. Lamar's a lot safer than the market treats him, in my opinion.
Not only is it not close for me, I think there needs to be a round and a half to 2 round difference between where Lamar goes and where the other quarterbacks go. Like I think
Uh,
it's that big of a difference.
Even on like best, but yeah. So you think he should be a fourth round pick?
Yes, and because so much of what Lamar does is with his legs, I don't think the correlation matters so much. So if I'm playing
No.
best ball and he's there anytime in the mid fifth, I'm just ripping that. Unless I've done something to myself, like only draft wide receivers and I desperately need a running back, like I'm just tacking Lamar on there.
Yeah, I don't care as much about correlation with Lamar. It's more just like I don't like elite quarterback that much in best ball, like not nearly as much as in redraft. So I tend to take Lamar on teams where I have Flowers. Like, just because, like, that gives me a good amount of exposure to Lamar in terms of, just how much I like to take those random guys. So, like, I'm pretty well spread out. The guy I have the most of is Jaden. One, because I love Jade Daniels. Two, because the Terry Jaden stack was pretty cheap for most of this offseason. Like, I've gotten a lot of Jaden in the 70s, which feels really good to me. I have a lot of Jalen Hurts whenever I get my hands on Devonta Smith, because then you're at the 2-3 turn. You end up coming around to the 6-7, and that's an easy stack to make. So I definitely have less Lamar than those guys. I don't know if I have more Lamar or more Josh Allen. I'm not sure.
I have seen Terry falling, by the way. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know what people are seeing or what news is out there that's making them do that, other than maybe Diggs getting signed. That's the only thing I could think of. But yeah, if you get a fallen Terry, feel free to rip that, boys. I think he belongs in that cluster of round 4 wide receivers.
I'm really not a Tony Pollard guy, but like 20 picks behind ADP, I'll probably do it. I don't really know. I was actually writing this. He's in my 10 more players priced at their floor article, but I have him as a fearful, not a greedy on there. Because I don't really know what you win when you win with Tony Pollard. But on the flip side, he has 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He's actually one of only 2 players in the NFL. It's him and Derrick Henry with 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. I think this will be the best Titans offense of his career. I think Cam Ward takes a step forward this year. I actually feel pretty good about Cam Ward. Okay, so I am going to trust the reporting that Alec Pierce is still on schedule for week 1 despite the PPR injections. They're saying that was fake news. I, I I'm going to keep buying that dip. I have an uncomfortable amount of him. I think I'm at like 15%, so almost double exposure to a guy who's injured right now. I'm not thrilled about that. I think for best ball though, when you're getting into like an 8th, 9th round borderline pick, I can stomach the risk there. Um, what were we talking about before? Tony Pollard. So Tony Pollard is a really hard one for me to reason through, because my big question that I get stuck on is like, what do I win when I win? Is there any chance that he's like a top 15 running back this year? That would be pretty shocking to me. But then again, he's been like running back 22 to 24 for years now. So I guess what it is for me is, and again, I put this in, I feel like it's maybe becoming a cop out of mine. Maybe it's something I need to like examine a little bit. What it becomes for me is, if you're in a hero or zero build, like I think you should take a Tony Pollard. If you have a Bijan or a Gibbs and you haven't taken your second running back at like the 6-7 turn, I think you should probably go ahead and let a Tony Pollard rip there. That makes a lot of sense. But am I taking him when I have 2 running backs as like a flex play? I don't know. I don't know what the upside shot there really is at that point. Tough decision here because I love these guys. I'll do a Kenny Gainwell.
You've got to be the first guy other than Chess Liam I've ever heard talk about Kenny Gainwell and say you love him.
What do you mean? Say I love? I said I love him. I said we'll take a Kenny Gainwell here.
I thought you said I love these guys.
Oh no!
So we'll take a Kenny Gainwell.
I do love that range for value wise. Oh my god, yeah, the Rashad White, JCM, Kenny Gainwell, Jordan Mason tier. I love this value all packed back here. I like all of them. But no, yeah, Kenny, I think is probably more of a best ball play, but I think he's going to catch some balls this year. I think he'll have some spike weeks. Can't say with any certainty until live bullets start flying, but I do like a little Kenny Gainwell. No, man, I'm pretty deep in the cat. I've been drafting him for months at this point. It's just gonna be one of those guys I sink or swim with this year. Okay, so we can go with a Sam Darnold. When will I have a shot at a Sam Darnold stack? I believe one of 2 NFL quarterbacks with 4,000 yards in back-to-back seasons, which is also wild. Okay, so you're taking a chance. If I forego quarterback here until 39, that is taking quite a chance there. I can see who. I mean, you can do like a Sam Darnold and even like a Daniel Jones. I would be okay with just a Sam Darnold and Drake May, because I think you're drafting Drake May to be like that guy. Although they all have week 11 buys. Oh god. Okay.
Is Mahomes still on the board?
I don't believe so. No.
Rip.
Yeah. Yep. Not great. Not great. Oh, although I would probably just take a running back and we'll see what comes back around to us if that's the way it goes.
I do like some Bill. I'm kind
Yeah.
of into the Bill premise this year.
Yeah, yeah. To me, he represents like an actual upside swing where, like, if he gets the starting role, he's still had like, dude, the hype for Bill was so high that a seventh round rookie came out and had an 800-yard season, and people are treating it like he was a complete dumpster fire. Like, I think that's pretty funny. Um, God, okay, yeah, probably just gonna go with a Rashad White here. Nice balance build, nothing too exciting going on here, but I feel really good about those three receivers. I want another running back. I feel really good about. Pressure's kind of off there for quite a while, and that opens up technically a. Well, it already was open because I took Gainwell. If Baker comes back, that's like a peripheral Gainwell stack, and I can maybe get a McMillan or Hurst late. I've been drafting a lot of Hurst. I still do believe ultimately he'll be the X. I don't think he's going to start as the X. But either way, I'm so in on Baker. I love anyone. Like Ted's been super in on McMillan, right? I think being bullish on just the Bucks in general is probably a good call. I like going in on the Bucks. Whatever capacity you do that at, however you pick your shots there, I'm big on that this year.
To be clear, I am bullish on McMillan for no discernible reason whatsoever. It's just in that round 12 where you have like Omar
Garbage.
Cooper, Travis Hunter,
Yeah.
Jalen McMillan.
Yeah.
That is the one that I want to click there. Like, and Denzel Boston's popping up too. I'm like, I'm not interested in some Denzel Boston anymore.
Oh God, dude, McMillan is getting or not McMillan. Obviously, of course, too. As I've been sitting here saying how much I love him all off season, Omar Cooper Jr. is getting bad ink, bro. They're saying he's getting outplayed by undrafted receivers. Blah blah blah. Again, I like the player. I think he's a pretty good player. He looks good to me. It may be an issue for him to see the field. It's still a risk reward I've been happy to take on a first round receiver at his current price tag. But the ink is not going his way so far in New York. And New York has like a pretty robust sports media apparatus. Like it's never great. Okay, please don't auto draft Baker right before me. Cool. Okay, a Baker Gainwell stack again opens up a Hurst, an Otten, a McMillan later on. I love Baker and May. That will absolutely be my two QBs there. We have Tucker Kraft. I don't necessarily feel the need to go get a Mark Andrews or a Dallas Goedert here, although I do think they're good value. Jacoby Myers is just not a pick I can ever bring myself to make, but we'll have to think about it if he's far enough past ADP here. And then Dejon Stribling is one that I am just getting so excited about. I think I need to start jamming a little bit more of him at cost. I do believe ultimately by the end of the year, he will be the 49ers wide receiver 2. I know that's a hot take. I just think he's going to get there. If the talent is real, if the coach speak is real, if the way things are heading are real. And that is a nerve-wracking thing to say with how Kyle Shanahan views rookie wide receivers. But it is what
I
it
don't
is.
know if that's a hot take, man. With Ricky being out now, like he has Debo to beat, but I think Debo is just going to kind of be like
Gadgety
the
guy.
gadget guy. You got Christian Kirk, who's not. He's going to be like a slot guy, and then we have Demarcus Robinson.
Demarcus Robinson's
Like
good. But yeah.
the the path is very clear for Stribling, I think. And yeah, like when you're picking Stribling instead of Jacoby Myers, right? Like
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers, like he's had no less than 6 targets in any game on the Jaguars. So like
Yep.
I feel like it's a nice floor play, but you're trying to hit a single
Yeah.
when you
Yep.
draft Jacoby Myers
Exactly.
versus if you draft
Exactly.
Stribling or Shaheed, you're taking a bigger hack, which I
Yep.
appreciate in these types of contests.
Yep, that is exactly it. And there goes our boy Mark Andrews. I would have bought the dip on Mark Andrews. That would have been good. If Rashid Shaheed goes, just know there's going to be an overweight wannabe fantasy analyst that's very upset in his fucking studio apartment. Okay. All right, cool. Hey, we get Shaheed. Okay, so that accounts for a pretty large percentage of the Seahawks passing attack, which is kind of good. Like you can sort of see a world where like one of them, if Shaheed catches like a 65-yard touchdown. That may come off of Jackson's plate, right? So they may compensate for a little bit. Would have loved to have had Sam Darnold on this roster with them, but he went just before, so he would not have come back to me on the slide. It's a good thing I didn't chance that. Because I hate once you start dipping into this range of quarterback, it just feels a lot worse to me. I don't mind CJ Stroud or Daniel Jones or Cam Ward, but I think there is like a definite gap there. Normally, what I do is take my second tight end here, but I think we can push it a little bit. I certainly do like to keep taking my shots on McMillan, who's a very talented player, especially on a Baker roster. Um,
Yep, this is the range I'm talking about very specifically where
yeah, yeah, it's just all
McMillan just
bad.
feels like the best click to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Omar Cooper and Naylor are the other ones.
Yep,
And
I
like
like. Yep.
usually I love drafting receiver there and I order them, but I always just get McMillan. And I'm like, well, that's neat.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't say he's like a because to me, I right you I've now been talking about it for like 3 months. I love Ted Hurst so much as like a player and a prospect, but then you say like, well, what does that really mean? One, it doesn't matter what I think; it matters what the coaching staff thinks. Two, he has a legitimate and established veteran in front of him that's played really well at periods with Baker Mayfield and Jalen McMillan. Three, it's just, you're getting into like non first round rookie receivers, which have a very dubious hit rate as it is. So, like, no matter how much I love Ted Hurst, and even though that is where I'm making the majority of my bets because he's also free, right? It doesn't mean I'm going to be right about that, and you should certainly hedge those bets a little bit. I think at the minimum you're going to get a few spike weeks with McMillan at a range where like a lot of these guys, Omar Cooper Jr., if he does not see the field, very well could be a legitimate zero for your roster, right? It could just be like you drafted a nobody, and I was drafting him as low as like 142, 143. So
Even if he does see the field, there is a very high chance he is just doing cardio out there with
yeah,
the just sieve that is
yep,
Geno Smith steering that ship. That just feels very bad.
yep. Again, I so my thinking with that, we'll see. I'm not saying it's over yet, there certainly, but my thinking with that was just like it's really just like a procedural pick. First round draft pick rookie, I'm getting in the 150s, like basically undrafted and redraft. It feels like sort of like a free upside roll, but it's certainly not a free upside roll if the fucking dude can't get on the field. Okay, so AJ Barner's obviously always my go-to down here. I believe history will smile on that decision. And then we have a weird one for the last round. I'm going to throw an Eli Raridan on here with Drake May. Eli Raridan, the general drumbeat for that dude is getting a little wild, and I'm very excited by it. I think he is like quickly becoming a sneaky last round pick with your Drake May stacks. They're having a hard time getting Hunter Henry on the field over him or getting him looks over him because Raridan has performed so well. And this is a dude who like the scouting community was freaking out about. The high stakes and sort of slappy community was freaking out about. And now he gets on the field and starts really looking the part as an NFL player. So we're going to try something a little funky here with a round 18 Eli Raridan because of Drake May. But I would certainly feel a lot better tacking down this room with a Barner and you know what? Where am I picking next? Can I come around and get Barner 174? We'll risk going with Dulcich or yeah, we'll risk going with Dulcich or someone a little worse, and we'll take not a Rondé Gadsden. We'll take a Zach Charbonnet here. See if we can get Barner to come back to us. Zach Charbonnet, RB5, in a room with four guys who should be able to get scores for 8 weeks or 10 weeks until he's out there playing. I like Zach Charbonnet as a late bloomer this year.
Yep, I'm in on that. Especially like if price goes down for any reason, right? Like say you get to week 9, Charbonnet comes back, and all of a sudden,
Yep.
Jadarian Price twists his ankle or
Yep.
something. I think Charbonnet's stepping right back in there. When George Holani was on the Seahawks last year, he was not getting any work over Charbonnet or Ken Walker. Like obviously Ken Walker's gone, so different situation. But I think that they would be happy to just roll Charbonnet in that situation.
Yep. Were you ever into? I mean, I can't recall you ever saying something like you were super into it. Were you ever super into the Jadarian Price thing?
No,
For me,
no, I was
not.
not.
For me, like not really, dude. It never felt like a click I wanted to make. I have one out of 190 rosters has Jadarian Price on it. It just never felt like someone were, dude. Oh my god, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11. Oh boy. Okay, I'm not a bye
Um,
week. I'm not a bye week, bro. But that is a lot of bye weeks.
Typically speaking, I would assume that a team that drafted a running back in the first round is going to start that running back with that they spent that draft capital on over
Probably.
George Holani.
Probably.
But we are talking about the Seahawks here, who are notorious for not doing what the fantasy community wants them to do.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Okay. How
Why would you
many?
draft that Reardon guy when you could Ferg out here in the 16th round?
Well, he got Ferguson off me.
Oh, he just did it. Okay.
Raritan's just a weird one because like I feel like I don't know. I feel like it could be a weird edge, like late in drafts, and also like I'm totally comfortable with this room as is, even though they both have week 11 buys. Um,
Yep, I've done a couple two tight end builds with Kraft. I think Kraft's just going to be so money this year that
yep,
ultimately it's not going to matter what other
yep,
guys you put under him.
yep. I'm not that worried about it. I think we are live here for him to just outright lead the um, Packers in usage if Christian Watson were to go down, but also even if not, like it might just be one of those things where he's an easy button target for Love. I expect him to be slow while he gets healthy, like a little, probably a 2 to 4 week like period of ramping up and really get ready. And then he's not going to be at 100% all year just based on basic return to play timelines from an ACL. You can just sort of book that he's not going to be totally full speed. God, we leave Greg Dulcich and Kate Otten on the board there. Reardon better do something, man. Very happy with this receiver room though. I think Tank Dell is a great price there. We really don't need another receiver, but these guys both have a great stack back here in Booty and Hurst. Let's see what we want to do. Dulcich or Otten would actually be tempting though, because that's way beyond ADP.
The beat is starting to, at least in Pittsburgh, is starting to talk about Freiermuth being like a focal point of the offense.
That's interesting.
I saw, who was it? So like one of the content guys who was like a Jeremy Bernard guy. Like there's a lot of Jeremy Bernard guys out there, and they were upset by that because they kind of thought Jeremy Bernard was going to be doing those like short to intermediate routes
Yeah.
for the Steelers, but it sounds like they were upset because it's sounding like Freiermuth is going to be doing that now. But it is very hard, I think, to bet on Freiermuth when you have the 3 tight ends that they do.
Yep.
In Pittsburgh. If they were one guy, like we've said on the show before, it'd be great, but they're just not.
Yep. And they paid Washington. They broke Washington off. I mean, it's sort of interesting. Like, should I take a Freiermuth shot here? Maybe. I just don't like the diffusion of. It just feels to me like it's a hodgepodge there, and the way that I want to attack the Steelers. God, stupid allergies. The way I want to attack the Steelers' offense is just pick your running back you prefer and take a shot on him, or take a shot on both. That's just for me personally. That's how I'm playing the Steelers.
Yeah, the way I would prefer to play the Steelers is to not.
Yeah, exactly.
The only one I'll do sometimes is DK Metcalf, and I'm starting to come around to the Rico Dowdle idea. I think the Rico Dowdle is just better than Jalen Warren, and I think he's going to be obnoxious if he's not getting the start.
So I just realized Eli Raridan has a week 11 bye. Okay. All right. Yeah, so we'll go. God damn it, I was so excited about that. But we do have a cool slide on Kate Otten here. We'll go Kate Otten or Pat Freiermuth just so I know we're getting points in week 11. There goes Kate Otten.
Does Muth go in the next 3 picks? I think it's very likely.
Yeah. Yep. If he does, that's very on brand for me, just being a loser. Keenan Allen in the last round. God damn, man. That is. I like that value proposition a whole lot.
So that guy clicked Roman Wilson because part of the beat was also saying that Roman Wilson is firmly in the slot in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So the Jeremy Bernard guys are in shambles. I don't know why there were Jeremy Bernard guys to begin with, but RIP.
That's what you just said is exactly the point for me. Why were you aggressively targeting rookies in the Steelers? Dude, rookies are a hard enough thing to target. Non-first round rookies were a hard enough thing to target. Okay, we're going to leave our muse in Eli Raridan on the table to take volume, just so we know we're taking a score week 11, such as it may be. Honest to God, we might not be taking a score with week 11 with Pat Freiermuth, but we'll see. Okay, the team... Where are we? Pat Freiermuth at the end. Okay. Robust wide receiver start, which I believe you should do on Underdog from the, 5 or 6 if things fall the way they do. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Antonio Brown, Rashee Rice, DeAndre Swift, Byshal Tootin, Drake May, Tucker Kraft, Alec Pierce, Gainwell and White, Baker Mayfield, Rashid Shaheed, Jalen McMillan, Zach Charbonnet, AJ Barner, Tank Dell, Ted Hurst, and Pat Freiermuth. Pretty happy with that one. I like that team. Okay. Back to the grill. Okay,
Did you
not
buy a Powerball ticket? They're doing $1 billion drawing today.
so. Do you know what's funny is for me? I no, I didn't buy any. I don't act. Here's this is a little insight into my psychology. We can pop over to my article in progress too while we're doing this. A little insight into my psychology. It causes me pain to like think about how exciting it would be to win that, and like I just don't. It's such a pathetic thing. I don't. Did you buy any?
Yeah, I got one.
Nice. Okay, preview of the 10 articles priced at their floor that should go on Reddit tomorrow morning. We're still waiting on one person. Jamison Williams, Jaden Daniels, Tony Pollard, Parker Washington, Jordan Tyson, Trevor Lawrence, Chris Godwin, Jacoby Myers, Jonathan Brooks, and Jordan Mason. Those are not all necessarily targets of mine. I am fading some of them in the article, and then we have a bunch of honorable mentions down there that I think are pretty good. Just guys that I think the value proposition's great for: Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy, Goff, Baker Mayfield, Laporta, Andrews, Brenton Strange, Barner, Terrence Ferguson, J.K. Dobbins, Kenny Gainwell, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Tyron Tracy Jr., Chris Rodriguez. For wide receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Brian Thomas Jr., Wandale Robinson, Mekhi Lemon, Matthew Golden, Casey Concepcion, and Dejon Stribling. Bunch of guys I will be throwing on the end of my redrafts and seeing what happens.
I was watching Matthew Berry's little think piece he put out on Twitter about how Parker Washington is one of the most mispriced fantasy players.
Yeah.
What he said is he was like, yeah, man, Parker Washington, I don't know why he's down there. He's at ADP 82 right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Where are you seeing Parker Washington going 82?
So I did pull the. So I think work. You and I have been grinding best ball, right? In composite ADP for fantasy pros, he is. This uses every platform redraft right now, but it's a lot of. It's a lot of mock drafts, right, where people are like effing around in there. ADP 78, wide receiver 35 on there.
Yeah, no, that's not. In every room I've been in every Yahoo mock that I've done, Parker Washington is either going in the 5th now
Yeah.
or the early 6th. So,
Yeah.
like, Matthew Berry is talking about how mispriced Parker Washington is. And he goes, I have him as the player 62 overall. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, that's about where I have him.
Yeah.
And I thought I was low on it. Like, so, I don't. ADP is going to be interesting, I think, depending on where it is you're drafting.
You have to remember, right, when we're doing our Yahoo free Tendies leagues, right, they're more. People tend to be very running back heavy in there, and they tend to pull quarterbacks up. And the tight ends on Yahoo, their ADP is very high. So I would imagine that the absolute highest Parker Washington gets is like the 5-6 turn. You still have on Yahoo ADP right now like Mike Evans at the back end of the 5th. Okay, we get a late James Cook. Let's go, dude. I just keep making that click. I'm so happy with that click. So I would imagine that the highest that we see Parker Washington get to on Yahoo, like I would imagine in our free Tendies leagues, it'll be like if there's a maniac like me that wants to reach into like the mid 5th, like the 5-6. That's what I think it'll be, like the 5-6. How palatable that is to you, your mileage will vary.
I think the fantasy points guys ranked Parker Washington over Christian Watson today. They were like, yeah, we prefer Parker Washington. Like, what's that guy's name? Evan Sowards, the Exodia guy?
No, Evan Sowards is the
Oh, no,
49ers sub guy you
yeah,
don't like. Scott Barrett, the Exodia guy.
Yeah, the Exodia guy was on there, and he was talking about how he has Parker Washington over Christian Watson. I was like, give me some of what you're smoking, brother. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like a pretty similar like structure of bet you're making, right? You're seeing a player that you think if he stays healthy all season and continues his role from last year is going to be good. I believe I still have. I mean, I know I still have Christian Watson ahead of him in rankings.
What was the one that Theo Greminger and his weird friend said? Like
that was Scott Barrett. That
Yeah,
was
okay,
Scott
yeah, they were
Barrett.
talking about
Rum,
Parker Washington
Roma
and Roma
Dunze.
Dunze, and they
Yes.
compared Roma Dunze to like dating the Queen of England
To banging.
or something.
To banging.
Yes.
They said the difference between drafting Roma Dunze at the end of the fifth and Parker Washington is banging Sydney Sweeney or the Queen of England.
Yeah, I think that's gonna age like milk. I think that's gonna age like milk. Roma Dunze, I'm in.
I think it's fine to be a Rome drafter. Again, that's where it starts to get hard for me. Is like how high do I want to get Parker? Do you want to leapfrog guys like I would prefer Christian Watson to Roma Dunze personally. But I know that that's like they're in the same tier. That's maybe more of a hot take, but that's how I feel. Um,
I mean, I have Odunze over Washington, or not Washington, over Watson, but they're right next to each other.
yeah,
I have Watson just exactly next, so I think that's
yeah,
close.
that's where it's like hard for Washington to push higher. Is like, are you going to start getting him? To me, like Romo Dunze and Christian Watson are roughly the last. Because, like, where I think, dude, you know me, like how excitable I have a disturbing amount of Washington that I've built up a position in all summer, right? So, like, it's certainly a guy that I love. But, like, I think you're getting a little crazy if you. Same thing I thought with Burden, right? And again, no matter how high I am on Washington, I do care about, like, the range of outcomes and the risk reward there. Um, when you start getting into like Mike Evans and Terry McLaurin, who both have wide receiver 1 seasons on their record, Terry McLaurin, when he played last year, was the wide receiver 8 in points per game. He didn't play a lot, so I think the points per game is a little sketchy when a guy doesn't play very many, but he still was the wide receiver 8 in points per game. Mike Evans, I believe every single week he is upright for the San Francisco 49ers. He will be ranked as like wide receiver 16, wide receiver 15. So when you start getting into these guys. Okay, so I don't draft a lot of Joe Burrow. We might try to set up a Joe Burrow poll here. I do have Olave in a tier above Lad McConkey, but I'm also I'm not a big Olave guy this year. Okay, so decision made for us there. I like Lad to T. Higgins 1-1. Decision made for us. T. Higgins. Okay, we are live to take a Joe Burrow share here when we come back around. Ooh, we also don't draft a lot of Josh Allen, though, and I love the receivers at the turn.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Josh
okay.
Allen at 4-2 is pretty good.
Yeah, that'll be a Josh Allen pull if he gets down to us. Because I'm perfectly comfortable double tapping receiver at the turn, and maybe we get a DJ Moore stack. Okay, very fun little start. And by the way, I would do this in redraft too. If Josh Allen falls to the 3, he's not going to fall to the 3-4 in redraft, but if he does, I think you just have to take him. Josh Allen, James Cook, Chase Brown, T. Higgins. We could go bully quarterback and take Joe Burrow in the 6th anyway, but I don't know if I want to. I think when you draft Josh Allen, you should structure your team like Josh Allen's the man there. So the Parker Washington thing, right? So he's going to push up right against those guys in ADP. Yeah, so I think I made my case, right, for why I would I'm just going to take Evans or Terry ahead of him. That feels safer to me. I'm okay with if you want to go anywhere else besides that. So if you want to take him over Luther Burden, that's fine with me. If you want to take him over Watson, Odunze, Jamison Williams, Devontae Adams, I think you're getting a lot riskier at that point, but I'm also not going to, like, laugh at you. What a great start. Puka Nacua, AJ Brown, Love. Yeah, DJ Moore is just not. I don't know how I feel. I have more in that blob.
I have Moore pretty firmly above Washington. Like I'll draft DJ Moore before Brian Thomas Jr. as well, but I don't feel good about DJ Moore. He's kind of let us down the last 2 years, but yeah. I'm willing to let that rip with the Bills.
So I'll have to revisit some of this, right? Technically, right now, I have Burden in his own little tier right there, and you're absolutely loaded wide receiver 2s. I have Adams as a 3. Adams is dropping like a rock for me. Williams, I think I feel pretty good about. I do have DJ Moore 2 spots ahead of Parker Washington. So
I don't know why Devontae Adams is dropping like a rock. Like I understand. Yeah, I wouldn't draft him before Terry or Mike Evans, which regularly happens in Yahoo, by the way. So I'm kind of out of that business if that holds. But I don't know, man. Yeah, he didn't have very many yards last year, but he had 14 touchdowns. And if Puka misses time for any reason, right, I think you're looking at like 30 point per game upside.
Yep.
No Puka games.
Yep. Again, I'm totally fine with however you have that. I think I would just opt for like younger volume plays. But dude, he scored 14 touchdowns last year. He's one of the best wide receivers in the history of the game. He's going to be on one of the best offenses in the league. I'm totally fine if you're taking Devontae Adams there. I guess maybe I'm being greedy, right? Maybe I just want that, like, you fantasize about that, like, top 12, top 15 breakout, but Devontae Adams was wide receiver 8 last year. So maybe you're overthinking the room if you fade Devontae for, like, a Jamison Williams or a Christian Watson. I certainly think that's a reasonable thing to say to someone who's doing that.
If you didn't have James Cook and Chase Brown in the boat already, I'd be very interested in Bucky here. Oh, there he goes anyways. But yeah, I think this is like the prime Bucky drafting range, at least on Underdog, if you're going to do that.
All right, we're forced to. The board forced us to. We are going to take Parker Washington here, throw him in. Totally fine with any of these. I mean, honestly, I don't prefer, if you're not going to go get Trevor Lawrence, which I'm not, I don't prefer to have Brian Thomas Jr. and Parker. Okay, so I have such a disturbing amount of rosters with Parker Washington and Jordan Tyson, but I also don't get this start a lot where you get 4th round Josh Allen. So I kind of want to go with, like, you know, my guys in this range. I do have Jordan Tyson above Cardinal Tate this year. I prefer him 1-to-1 to Cardinal Tate, not even at cost. So we're going to do that. I have a lot of this combo. I'm going to end up drafting a lot of this combo come redraft season. It's probably going to be the thing my fantasy season centers on, so I want to pick my shots when I have a start I really love in James Cook, Chase Brown, Josh Allen, T. Higgins. So
from the mocks I've been running, Jordan Tyson is like an 8th round pick. I got him at the end of the 8th round. Yeah, mock draft, like everyone was participating. It was not just like auto picks. So I think that's one that you can, like, he was 2 rounds cheaper than Cardinal Tate. I don't see any world like Cardinal Tate is worth 2 additional rounds of ADP. Jordan Tyson, that seems like one of the most aggressively wrong ADP things that Yahoo has.
Yep. Dude, think about, like, and you were right to do so. I'm certainly not saying this in a critical way. I'm saying you were very right to do so. Think about how you pushed back when we started to see these rookie, like, do you remember? I don't think you and I had a single share of him. When Marvin Harrison Jr. was a high 2nd round pick, some people were taking him in the back end of the 1st round. Do you remember that? Like,
yeah, I think I ended up with 1 in
okay.
a PPR league. That was a terrible team, though.
So, like, dude, people really, and rightly so, right? We saw Trevion Henderson going in the 2nd round in some drafts last year in high stakes stuff. People rightly were grossed out by, like, are we just going to treat rookies like they're instant, you know, out of the box fantasy assets, and should we be doing that? And that was like, that's been a big topic of discussion, right, the last couple of years. Do you understand you're getting a top 10 rookie receiver in an offense that ranks top 5 in play rate over the last 7 years? Kellen Moore, as an offensive coordinator or head coach, has been top 5 in play rate for 6 of the last 7 years. I just wrote this in the Tyson article. Jordan Tyson is such a unique he has commanded a 30% target share at 3 different locations in college. I understand he's going into an offense with a bunch of established players and a good running back stable. I get it. But I don't know if people realize, like, in my opinion, my humble subjective opinion that I cannot prove, I'm of the opinion that Jordan Tyson's the most talented player on their offense. So if you're telling me I get the most talented player in that offense that's going to be top 5 in play rate, that is usually towards the top of the league in pass rate over expectation, with one of the better offensive lines in the sport, a defense that should still bleed some yards, that plays indoors most of the season, and, like, he's commanded a 30% target share through college. The Rams were interested in him. Teams were interested in him. It is, people, I believe, will look back on this season and be like, how did we not see it coming? So for me, it's just an auto click in round 7 if I can get him, and I'm willing to pull him up as high as, like, the late 60s. If that ADP holds, that's obscene to me. I actually find it offensive on, like, a personal level. Okay. We take a lot of, we'll throw Chris Godwin in there. We take a lot of Chris Godwin here. We'll just do a little variety today. We'll do a Michael Wilson. I like taking some shots that Michael Wilson could just pick up where he left off with Jacoby Brissett. I don't know if it's likely, but I sort of like the concept that, like, maybe he does.
Chuba Hubbard right there, by the way. Jonathan Brooks went at the 7-2. Well, I think Jonathan Brooks went before Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that's wild. You know my thing about the double running back, the double hero start. I like to leave it alone for quite a while. Okay, so we will take twist my arm. I probably should be mixing in some Makai Lemon. He just hasn't practiced yet. Period. So we'll go Chris Godwin. Get 2 stacks throughout the year when Godwin and Tyson play. Okay. All right. Pretty damn happy with that start. 20 picks. Do we want to reach on a Kincaid stack at 112? No, we're going to see if he comes back around to, I'm sorry, at 110. We'll see if he gets there back to us at 131. I doubt it. Okay.
Apparently, reports are that Caleb Johnson is fighting for his spot on the roster.
Oh boy.
Pittsburgh.
Oh boy, round 7 pick Caleb Johnson.
Dude. Yeah, I was so in on that, man.
I was too. I had not so in, but I had 2 out of 12 shares. I went. I mean, 15%. That's a lot.
Exciting young rookie in a Arthur Smith offense. What could go wrong?
Yep. That's a player that I like though. Like as the 49ers are sitting here panicking, looking for guys to bring in, I would not mind at all if you bring in like a Caleb Johnson type. You know, like a talented archetype or a talented profile. Really
well,
good.
we just signed Zamir White today. We don't need him anymore.
You thank God. That strikes me as that strikes me as like the kind of guy that they should be bringing in. I'm worried. I don't remember the reporting. I did not check on this. We were talking about it in the 49ers Hub writers room. I do not recall if I like how I said writers room, like that's a very official thing. We were talking about it there though. By the way, you know this guy's a smart fucking douchebag. Gibbs, Pickens, Hall, Swift, Tootin, guaranteed to not use one of your first 5 draft picks every single week, and you followed up Gibbs, who can carry a running back room on his own with 3 running backs. Very good, dude. This guy's a thinker at 1. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried that Kalen Black, if I recall correctly, was reported as a quad issue, and
Adductor.
Was it so? Okay, so now I'm very worried. I've had a hip abductor issue and I've had a quad issue. Those can often be euphemisms for a sports hernia. It is actually, if you remember the weird reporting around Terry McLaurin, that is actually very similar to the weird reporting around Terry McLaurin. So I am quite high on Kalen Black as I thought he would get some playing time this year. The Niners said he was their RB2 in the class. If he has a sports hernia and he misses all of August and then may miss all of the year if he goes arthroscopic with his surgery, that is a huge blow to a player that me and Ted have been sort of placing our bets on that, you know, may get some run here. Okay, we took Kenny Gainwell last time, so we will do a Ja'Cory Krosky merit here if the opportunity presents itself. Could go Harold Fannin, honestly. I mean,
I like the Fannin click if he makes it.
Yeah, we can anchor our tight end room, and then if we end up getting Kincaid on the backswing, that's just like a sick room where you have volume and ceiling. See if this guy auto clicks him, but no quarterbacks in the boat. It should auto click him a quarterback. Okay, this guy is a tight end too. So it looks like we'll get, I mean, assuming he doesn't go robust tight end, looks like we'll get a Harold Fannin. JCM, he does JCM there. I have told you guys repetitively in my writing this year, I don't like Harold Fannin Jr. in the 7th round. I think that's too soon. But in redraft, if he slides to the 8th round, I think he's pretty likely to be the lead receiver in his running back room. So I'd let it rip.
Did you hear the Browns were comparing Denzel Boston to Drake London?
Good Lord.
Today, the beat reports. Who said that first? Who came on the show early when no one was drafting Denzel Boston in the 14th round? I even asked you, would you like some Denzel Boston?
Yeah. The biggest thing I remember you saying about Boston is you thought he was a horrible first-round pick that you would have been livid if the Niners made.
Yes, and I also said I don't care if the Niners draft Randy Moss. I don't want them to take a wide receiver.
It wasn't a Boston
I didn't think Ricky was going to die.
Right.
So as it turns out, that was not a luxury pick. That was a necessary pick.
Always good when that.
I was
always
stupid
good, by
and
the
wrong.
way. Always good, by the way, when that happens. When you're like, God, this pick is so horrible, and then the team gets ravaged to the point where it's a good pick. The team got decimated to the point where a pick that we were disgusted with is now absolutely necessary. That's the life of a 49ers fan.
I want to be honest with the viewers or viewer here. I was slow on the moving on from Trey Lance thing. it was one of the things I didn't understand why the Niners brought in Jimmy Garoppolo, or I guess brought him back in and were saying that he was the guy going forward. I didn't think Trey Lance had a fair chance. As it turns out, though, that was incredibly wrong. And from that point on, I stopped questioning Kyle Shanahan's quarterback personnel decisions.
Yep.
I also questioned Sam Darnold coming in. As it turns out, that was very wrong, too. So I just kind of let that go. I said, I think Kyle knows quarterback better than me.
Yeah.
And maybe Kyle knows wide receiver better than me, too. Maybe I just need to not have takes about the 49ers personnel decisions or draft decisions.
I mean, I don't know whether I should have takes or not, but I do, and I was right there with you. I was disgusted with. Now, so here's what's interesting, though. Do you know what the Dijon Stribling pick paralleled for me? The same thing I yelled. You remember we were texting during it. I got so angry. I've said this before, but when they drafted Ricky Pearsall over Lad McConkey, because I viewed them as such a similar archetype of player, but one was a blue chip prospect, the other one was not. I got so angry I had to get in my car and drive circles around the block for like a half an hour. Like I remember I went and got a 7-Eleven taquito and just sat there driving, eating a stupid, shitty, like day old taquito in my car. Okay, there goes Dalton Kincaid, just killing my vibe, man. 4 picks before me. You know, like it really bothered me. And then, so now what happens, right? You have what is considered a, I've taken so much Mark Andrews. We'll mix it up with a little Isaiah Likely if he gets back to us. I don't like Khalil Shakir to the point where I just don't stack him with Josh Allen, even if he's there. Damn it, Chimor and Tracy Jr. went. I was hoping that he would be here. We could do a little Keaton Mitchell if need be. But so, okay, so we will do, as much as I love Mark Andrews, he's my most drafted tight end, we will mix in Isaiah Likely here. On the off chance, he really is the one.
Okay, I'm pulling up the 2024 draft here because I do want to talk about this a little bit, right? So,
wait, hold on, real quick. I'll let you get to it. Can I finish that though? So I'm worried that the Denzel Boston pick was a parallel of the Dijon Stribling pick. What I didn't understand is when you could have gotten a blue chip, big bodied wide receiver at that spot in Denzel Boston, who was a universal top 20 prospect in the class, why you felt the need to reach way up on Dijon. So that's the parallel I'm making. But go ahead, do what you got to do.
Well, they traded back and then took Dijon in the second round, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the mocks had Casey Conception
Yep.
going to the 49ers. I'm not sure a slot wide receiver is what the Niners needed, but as previously mentioned, maybe I need to shut up about Niners personnel decisions. But okay, so I'm looking in this draft, right? 2024 draft. This is where Ricky Pearsall was selected, and I'm looking at wide receivers that went after Brian Thomas Jr. at 23, who I think has already done a lot in the league, at least to be considered at least a good pick. So at 28, the Chiefs take Xavier Worthy. The Niners go Ricky Pearsall at 31. The Panthers go Xavier Legette at 32.
So wait, I'm sorry. So it was Xavier Worthy, Pearsall.
Yeah.
And then
Xavier Worthy, Pearsall,
Keon.
Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman. Then Ladd, and then Jalen Polk. That's like that cluster of wide receiver that went.
Just a nightmare.
To me, well, dude, I think Ricky is by far the second best one on that list.
Yes.
Like, if we're talking about who can actually have a successful NFL career, I still think Ricky, out of that just murderer's row of busts at the wide receiver position. Like, Jalen Polk already retired. He just quit. He said, I'm out of here.
Yep.
What did the fantasy points guys say? They said, if you think that Ricky Pearsall is not a good wide receiver, I'm not sure how to communicate with you.
Yes.
Right? Like, I think that he has shown that he can be very good if he's on the field, but it has just been, some of the worst luck I've ever seen for a guy. It's a bummer. I hope the Niners retain him, but if he does go somewhere else, right, because he's going to be on the 4th year of his rookie contract or whatever, coming back from the PCL of, let's say Dijon Stribling has a really great year, he carves himself out a nice role, and then Ricky's just kind of like a forgotten man almost. I'll still be aggressively trying to go after Ricky Pearsall, wherever it is he goes, probably.
Yeah. So I hope he either goes somewhere or plays for the 49ers again, because his injury was career-threatening. So I just don't want his career to be over, because, like, it's a 50-50 shot he plays again. Like, can play again. So I hope that doesn't happen, because, like, I do love the player. And I like his disposition, too. He's like a Okay, so we lose the last quarterback we felt good about. We lost Bryce Young and DJ and oh man, that was a brutal run. Okay, so that is everyone.
That's an uncorrelated Fernando Mendoza in the 15th round angle for me.
Yeah, yeah, I'm probably gonna wait and do like a Geno Smith and maybe even a Carson back late. Again, with Josh Allen, like I don't care. I'll wear that, but that is not ideal. Yeah, so I agree with you that of that tier, he's the second best. It was more what offended me was not the Ricky thing necessarily. Oh God, and we lose. Yeah.
Dude,
Okay.
you were watching that Jonah Coleman tape today. You got to click that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm big on Jonah Coleman, dude. But
I know you are.
yeah, yeah, okay. Oh, that's just so annoying to lose all of those quarterbacks, dude. What are we
Dude,
doing?
Fernando Mendoza, man, that's the way.
Yeah, I'm not gonna reach up that high. He should be there on the turn.
Yeah, yeah, on the comeback.
Yeah, our wide receiver room we feel pretty good about. Could take a Kamara here, but does Kamara really crack that lineup as is? We're gonna do the spike week chase. We're gonna chase Ryan Flournoy. Just a guy I think could catch some long balls. He was a good deep receiver this year. Okay. No, so what annoyed me wasn't like that I thought Ricky was a bad player or something. It wasn't that. It was that you could have, in theory, so we have a Josh Allen week 7 bye, which is a problem for Mendoza. Oh, this is so
Well,
bad.
I would offer you the advice you gave me when I asked you about. I was actually had this exact same quarterback room. Do you remember what you told me?
I don't remember what I told you. What did I tell you? Just eat the week?
You take Kirk Cousins around 18. That way you have
Yeah,
either
just
way
the
you have the
Raiders.
Raiders quarterback.
The
Yeah.
Raiders quarterback. Yeah, that might be what we do. I mean, let's see. I feel pretty good about this receiver room, in my opinion. Again, not some of Ted's guys, right? But those top three I feel great about. I like Michael Wilson, Godwin, and Wandale too a lot. And then Flournoy is a spike week guy. I feel really good about the tight end room. Harold Fannin likely. There's so much volume there. The running back room, I have my double heroes and I have my two big upside shots, so I'm okay throwing a guy late. If we really have to here, we can just double tap quarterback, but it feels like such a waste to do behind Josh Allen. I much prefer Mendoza to Geno Smith, but I know Geno Smith is playing week 7. So what I may do there,
Dude, he's
yeah,
so bad.
he's gonna play. He's gonna play
Cade
week 7.
Klubnik might already be in there.
He's
bro.
gonna no. It's not gonna be Clay Klubnik. God damn, I got tongue tied. It's not gonna be. It is. I got so upset with you saying that I wasn't able to get the words out. It's not gonna be Clay Klubnik in week 7. No
It's
way.
Cade Klubnik.
Whatever. Mary Kay Cabot, the Browns lady. It's not gonna be the Browns lady in week 7. There's no way. Stop. Don't say that.
You know, in a world of like very bad beat reporters, Mary Kay Cabot is very good at her job.
Excellent.
That is one of the people
Yep.
who, when I see her reports, I actually trust it.
Yeah, Jane Slater too. Jane Slater's good with the Cowboys. The ladies, man, the ladies are holding it down. It's the dudes that feel the need to interject themselves into season-long narratives. You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
always,
I mean-
yeah.
The ladies don't have a perfect track record.
No, correct. Correct. It does go very south occasionally. So if Sharbs wants to slide all the way back here, that would be cool. If not, it'll just be a very boring Geno Smith pick. I like Dylan Sampson a lot too at this price, just for volume, just for passing volume.
I implore you to select Fernando Mendoza with your next pick.
Dude, he's not going to be starting week 7 though. I don't want to take the L. So like if I spend up, I already spent up for Josh Allen. All I'm really concerned about is not taking an L week 7. That's it. I just don't want to take a 0 there. Zach Charbonnet, though, is such a good value back here. I feel like I have to
I
take
think
him.
every first overall pick over the last like 7 years at the quarterback position has been starting by week 6.
Yes. Yeah. I don't. It doesn't feel. It's not a feels bad thing to me necessarily.
In the report from the Raiders camp today, and by the way, we've talked about how beat reports are largely opinion based. You have to be careful about that, right? But the beat reports are that Fernando Mendoza has looked so good in camp that it is a legit competition for week 1 starter. Just saying.
Okay, we're doing it. Come on, buddy. Get us home. All right.
You won't regret that pick. He's going to be good.
Oh, I don't think I like the player a lot. I just worry that he's not playing week 7. That's my only concern. Okay. So pick 204 is next. We are at 16 picks. We have one more. I would like to get one more tight end in the boat, but typically these guys are going to be wiped out by the time we get back there. Don't mind a late Evan Ingram. And Charlie Kolar is actually still one. He's at the top of their depth chart technically, but as we just went over, right, those depth charts are made by like social media interns. I don't know how seriously you have to take those, but they do have him at the top of the depth chart for whatever it's worth. I would hope that they consult the team before putting that out there, but like it's not the team that puts them out there. It is their media team that makes the depth chart. But he is at the top. He is at the top as we speak. So.
I love how the depth charts say "or" on them. Like
Yep.
some of them say "or." Like the one the Jaguars released said Tootin or Chris Rodriguez.
Yep, co-starters.
Like, is that just the beat report getting together and being like, "Do you know?" Nah, let's just say it. Like,
well, again, it's not even the beat. It's like some social media intern. They like tell a kid, "Hey, go put out a depth chart. We need a depth chart today." And the kid goes, "All right." And then we're all like, "Oh my god." That's definitely going to be like something that we can get into at some point, like as the year unfolds and we see. I think too often, like we're always looking. We think life is like a movie where someone scripts every piece of dialogue to lead you into the plot. And like I think way more often than we realize, there's just coaches saying stuff and we're all freaking out about it, and it's just like a dude talking. He's not planning. He's not laying breadcrumbs for what his deployment's going to be of these guys. You know what I mean?
Look at that round 16 Freiermuth, dude. He got the news. He was a Jeremy Bernard guy. Now he's
too bad he's
transitioned over to Freiermuth.
Too bad this guy's a worthless piece of shit. Gibbs, Pickens, Hall, Swift, Tootin, Prescott, Kraft, Addison, Pittman, Higgins, Murray, Darnold, Stroud, quadruple quarterback. That is why, by the way, I hit an early quarterback run. Thanks, dude. Four running backs. Oh God. So Williams is what? Is wide receiver 5 or 6? Like, dude. No, man.
Dude, Jordan Addison's a screaming value.
I hope
that's actually a guy Hayden was gassing him up today.
Was he?
Saying, I think, what was it? Jordan Addison, the wide receiver, I don't know, like 18 or something on like in points per game on the wide receiver 36 usage. Like there are a lot of people now that are beating the Vikings good. Invest in the Vikings drum now that Kyler Murray is there. The team, or I guess, has been announced as the starter. I think that you're walking into a trap there, assuming that's going to be any better, first of all. And second of all, assuming you've seen the last of 9. 9 is inevitable. You're going to see 9 at some point this year.
Yeah, I kind of do worry about that. I think that has to factor in more than the market is currently factoring it in. We always take Kate Otten here, but Gunnar Helm with like a nice 20 pick slide. That's a big Josh from Josh and Hayden's show guy. So we'll throw him on as our tight end 3. Shout out to Josh from Josh and Hayden. Not a pick that I ever really make, but Keon Coleman to stack with Josh just in case like something happens. Might be interesting.
Can I interest you in some round 18 Deshaun Watson?
No.
Starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns?
No, I don't feel the need to reinforce my my room that much more. Although I will take like Sean Tucker over Keenan Allen. Probably just take him on the off chance he pops. Over Keon Coleman. I would have taken Keon Allen there. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do Sean Tucker. Okay. This is the final room here. James Cook, Chase Brown, Higgins, Allen, Washington, Tyson, Wilson, Godwin. That recovery right there is why I'm totally comfortable with a robust RB start or an early Josh Allen start. Fannin, Robinson, Likely, Mitchell, Coleman, Flournoy, Charbonnet, Mendoza, Helm, Sean Tucker to round it out. I like to do 2 of these per day, but we're at $95. Do you have time to hang out for one more, or are you going to your town hall meeting?
Town hall's not for another 2 weeks. I can hang out for one more. Let's tell the internet about that. There's a homeless shelter in Chico that has decided they want to expand their operations onto my street into a couple of empty houses. So I have to go to like a council meeting or whatever. They sent letters to everyone who lives within 500 feet of this. Yeah,
it's a town hall.
Well, it's a town hall being held in the homeless shelter. So I'm gonna go to that, I guess, and I have to. Oh, 1-1. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Aren't you happy it did one more? Get some
Yes.
Gibbs in the boat. Yeah, but yeah, so I have to go to that and say, hey, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've already had my car broken into. I have the homeless people regularly digging through my trash. I actually I ripped some first partner collections for Pokemon, and the homeless people. I actually thought this is kind of cool. They went into the trash, and I just let them take the promo cards. I don't care because I bulk is worthless to me. And they took out the stickers out of the first partner collection and decorated my trash can with it.
That's nice of
So
them.
I came home one day to like a couple like Totodile stickers on my garbage can. But I thought that was kind of cool, but also like I had to take them off.
Yeah, dude. The problem with the homeless stuff is like in California, I don't think non-Californians realize like one in San Francisco, you can get 500 to 1,000 a month cash plus another 500 to 1,000 a month in like food, shelter, and benefits. So like we pay people to be homeless in California and many cities, so it incentivizes the homeless from all around the country to move here. Again, I'm trying to enter into the mental health field. I want to be a mental health professional. I want to be a clinical psychologist with my life. I want to work in these facilities. I'm very sympathetic to mental health issues that cause homelessness. It's a really big problem for a lot of people. If they don't have resources, they end up homeless. But there's another group of people that is in California that are like drug using bums. And it's not that they're very mentally ill or very, they're addicts that would prefer, they have a choice of what to do with their time. They prefer to sit around doing drugs all day. And you know, they commit property crime at higher rates. They get on amphetamines or different types of stimulants and cause like violent crime. It's a mess. I worked and lived in downtown San Francisco on Pier 39, working the pier down there. I slept on a fishing boat. I worked on it 15 hours a day, and I spent the rest of my time there for like a period of years in my life. It is like, dude, you'd have people shooting heroin on a sidewalk. It's just not like a viable way to organize society. And they pay these people. What Ted's dealing with is a dude's going to get a huge stipend, like probably 5 to 6 thousand a month to house the homeless in 3 or 4 houses, when the rent in those houses would be like 1,500 a month. So he's going to end up getting this state taxpayer funded money to get wealthy from his properties. It's really like a mess how we do things here. But it is. Let's see what fantasy football advice is doing too. But yeah, dude. So that's weird, right? You're going to be in between all this very odd political stuff that we have to deal with in California.
The holy grail of what a noob fantasy drafter would do: pull up Parker Washington to the mid fifth round,
Is that what it says? Oh, no.
draft Jonathan Brooks before Chuba Hubbard.
Uh, what?
Um,
Wait, was that? What is it? Did I miss something? Was that like a post on here?
yeah, well, dude, I saw it and then it disappeared, so I don't know where it went. I didn't just make that up.
I
It
did
was,
the
yeah, there
Holy
you go.
Grail of Nubis thing. Any Jennifer? No, no. This is too much of an explanation. I don't care about this stupid. I drafted
Dude, that's a
fair.
lot
Oh,
less text. That's a lot less text than your posts.
well, yeah, but my posts are like articles. I drafted Fairbairn in the ninth round and Aubrey in the 10th round. Both of those are horrible. How did you? God, he blew it on both. Um, okay, taking Bowers or an elite wide receiver like AJ Brown in the third round. What? Okay, it's got to be a 10-man league, 10-man PPR. Yeah, dude, come on. How viable is zero quarterback? It is the best year to do zero quarterback in the history of the NFL, sir. Brees, Javante, ETN. Wow, man, I did not know. And, you know, maybe I need to re examine this. There are people that have ETN ahead of Jacobs. There are people that have ETN as an early fourth round pick. Maybe I'm being way too bearish about it and I have to, like, look back on. I think ETN's much closer to a Montgomery or a Swift than one of those guys, but I might be being irrational based on how into him the community is this year. What do you, I mean, I know you're like an ETN guy, but is there like a gap between.
Hold on. No, I'm not an I said I was ETN curious, not an ETN guy. There's a big difference. Because we're getting around discount now.
You just did
So
stuff. You just did stuff with ETN once. You don't do stuff with ETN all the time. You're still deciding.
yeah, it was just an
It was an
experimental
experimental
phase.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Go on. Finish what you were saying.
But like, so now you're getting ETN in like the mid to late fourth round, right? And I definitely prefer him to the Swift Monty when you start getting in that dead zone running back tier. So I don't think he's down there. And I definitely prefer Javante to ETN, even though like I think he's way more dusty. Like that, it's just the offensive environment,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Brees, like obviously the most talented of that group, but I think we may be underestimating or not correctly quantifying how terrible the Jets could be and how bad that could be to invest in. I don't even care that they said it. What did one of the beat reporters say? It looks like the Jets plan to feature Brees Hall this year, and I hope so. I hope so because he's significantly better than any of the other running backs on that roster. But I don't trust them to do that. Right? They'll start messing around and putting Braylon Allen on the goal line or mixing in Isaiah Davis when they're down 30 points to the Patriots or something like that. Right? So For me, I would rank it Brees, Javante, ETN, but that's like a whole tier.
Mm.
Easiest Nico in my life. Oh wait, no, Drake's there.
Well, it's gonna
Noted
be
Drake
two of
London
them.
hater, I would still take him.
Oh yeah. You have to. It's more just do I take Rasheed while he's gimpy, but Devonta Smith is gimpy. Jeremiah Love has usage concerns. I'm just gonna take. I'm gonna. We'll treat it like Rashi Rice is gonna be 100% week one. We still have a few weeks. It just does make me a little uneasy, but that's okay. Nico Collins, Rashi Rice, pretty good
I mean,
start.
Rashi Rice was already terrible beating man coverage anyway, so I think
Yeah,
that's kind of goofy. The people are like, well, he looks bad
yeah,
running routes, right? Like, first of all, we have a month until the season starts.
yeah.
Second of all, separation was never his game anyways. He's
No,
his own beater.
no.
So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, if this were redraft, I would pull up Jacobs, Hall, or Love, and I would go Jameer and a running back, and then anchor my wide receiver room, and then come back around to the turn. We obviously play it differently here, but for redraft, I much prefer to just handle my double hero running back, so I can worry about like the next running back in round 9 or 10. Just forget about him the whole draft and like build how I want to build. For best ball, it's a little different. But yeah, I think
if
so.
you're going to spend the draft capital to draft Jeremiah Love, right, where I think the most likely rollout is he's going to be disappointing early, a Gibbs roster is the best one to do that on,
Yeah,
or Bijan, if
yeah,
that's what you're going to do,
yeah.
right? To me, when I get the 101, because I've drafted a lot of it, I like going Hero RB, and then I won't draft my RB2 until like the fifth, sixth round
Yeah.
ish. And
Yeah.
sometimes I even push that. But double hero is fine too.
Metcalf or Pittman. Pittman in full PPR for me, but Metcalf is a much better player. CMC versus Amon Ra. Give me Amon Ra. Neighbors or Genty and a keeper. Oh God. Joshua Palmer or Andre Yosivash. Okay, it's Dynasty. I was like, dude, what happened to you, man? God, too many keeper questions. Sort of makes this a lame thing. Let's see what's going on in the main one. I'm sure there's going to be some like crazy thing.
Can we look at r/eggs?
R/eggs.
Please?
I don't even know why I follow this. It's very weird. It is just like eggs. Like people go, here are my eggs today. No, it's literally it. Like that's just here are my eggs.
Are you like sending pictures to r/eggs?
No,
Like,
I've never.
What is?
No, I've never posted there. I've never posted there. It is actually just like this weird, probably something really old that I followed. You know, I don't know, but
I know this is the content that the
yeah,
viewers came for.
yeah. So
R/eggs.
someone's got like 20 grand going into fantasy, and they decided to check us out, and they're going, dude, how does this? How does this help me? Yeah, Penix said his doctor told him he had an amazing ACL. I did see that. It's a very funny
It
quote.
sounds very. That's like something Trump would say.
That's like
about
something
his
Trump would
ACL.
say. Trump, Rashi Rice not expected to face further discipline. Emeka Egbuka, we are on injury watch for Emeka Egbuka with the injury. They're saying it's minor. Here's where I really care. If it is reported as turf toe, I will be very, very trepidatious with my Emeka Egbuka investing moving forward, and that's someone who I already have very heavy bags on. Turf toe threatens his outlook in a pretty profound way this year, and that would not be that would be a feels bad man moment for
Godwin and McMillan stocks to the moon if that happens.
me. Yep,
It is a turf toe.
if it's turf toe, that is like explosivity on the table that may or may not return this year. That is a whole host of potential issues. Okay, so I much prefer even though I don't like them in a vacuum, I much prefer to be drafting like tight end, quarterback, running back at the 7 turn. So, and then, yeah, so I'm going to try to get Goff with this roster with Gibbs. So I'm actually going to bump Williams above Burden. We're going to do a JMO Williams tier here. So we go Colston Loveland, Jameer Gibbs. I take Colston Loveland. If he's there in the 5th, I will take him. That is my line for taking Loveland. We go Jameer Gibbs, Nico Collins, Rashi Rice, Jamison Williams, Colston Loveland for the start.
I saw your smug little tweet. I forgot who you put it under, but you were like, fantasy managers are going to be so mad when Tyler Warren
Yep.
has a similar output this year to Brock Bowers. I would say fantasy managers are going to be so mad when Colston Loveland has a similar output to Sam Laporta.
Oh,
the
dude, but
eighth round.
yeah, but see, like the thing is, that's not really a slam to me. Like that's like, dude, that's why I don't like taking the top two guys. I think we have an incredible wide receiver or tight end class this year at really good values. Like I'm just happy to wait a little bit and take any of them. It's why I won't take Loveland at the 3-4 turn like all these sharps are doing. I'm very happy to let that go. I'm happy with round 5 Warren. I'm happy with round 6 Kraft. I'm happy with round 7 Laporta. I'm happy with round 8 Fannin. I'm happy with round 9 Andrews. I'm happy with round 10 Goddard. I'm happy with round 10 Likely. I'm happy with round 12 or 13 Strange, Barner, or Ferguson if you want to be crazy. There's just too much good tight end value for me to rush and leave a wide receiver one on the board for one of them, in my opinion.
Dude, I have noticed in the Yahoo rooms is that not only is tight end bumped up another round,
Yeah.
right? Like the tight ends are going way. Bowers and McBride are kind of like close to underdog. Colston Loveland's kind of close to underdog, but that Kraft and Laporta tier that I like to hit on
Yeah, it's like in the fifth.
so many times. Yeah, so that gets bumped up an extra round, so I'm missing that. And then what these guys are doing is every single roster is a 2 tight end roster.
Yeah.
So like I'll be like sitting there like, oh, I really want some Likely in the 10th, 11th round, and then like some guy who already has George Kittle has now drafted Isaiah Likely too. There, right? So the last like 3 mocks I did, I think, because I've been practicing towards the back of the snake because I think I know what I'm going to do at the front of the snake. But in those drafts, I got so picked off at tight end that what I did is I drafted like a defense in round 13
Yeah.
and then just went to Barner at round 14 and just completely punted on the position, which
Yep.
I would not be happy if I'm just rolling out there with a naked AJ Barner for redraft. But in theory, if 11 out of 12 teams take 2 tight end, I guess you could find yourself in that situation. I hope that when it actually comes draft time and people are sitting there actually making their picks, they're not doing that.
Yeah. Ooh, cool. Looks like we have some Redditors trying to get in the leagues. That's always good. Yeah. To me, I just think that no, it's how I handle fantasy. I'm not saying it's how you have to handle fantasy to anyone who may be. So typically, I do like Jalen Warren as my running back too. If he's there at the turn, I will take a Marvin Harrison share or a Brian Thomas Jr. share if they get back to me. Then I'm so high on Jared Goff. And sometimes you can go like Mahomes and Goff, although I am a little cool off Mahomes this year because of the ACL. I'm worried he's not going to move as much. But you have Rice, right? So you can stack there. And then the only question is, do I do a Caleb Williams stack with Loveland here and just go with like a really good quarterback room I'm very happy with, which would be Caleb Williams and Goff. I think the elite quarterbacks are just so cheap. You probably should be, picking your shots there. Um, Ideally, I would prefer to go with okay, so Warren goes there. We're just going to leave the boring volume on the board. Actually get really lucky with that turn. We're going to go Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. True.
Caleb Williams is my most drafted quarterback on underdog this year. I don't know how that happened. I guess it's because I was picking at the 1 so much, but
Hey,
yeah, a lot of
hey,
Caleb.
I am totally fine with it. That defense is garbage. Ben Johnson saying their goal is to lead the NFL in scoring this year. Caleb, to me, looks like he took a gigantic jump from year 1 to 2. Okay, so this is going to be pick 97, a little bit early for Jared Goff, but in my opinion, I'll keep flag planting this one. I think Jared Goff is a 4,000 yard, 30 plus touchdown guy this year. Yeah, our running backs behind Gibbs are going to be really skimpy. We're really going to lean into Gibbs being the running back 1 this year, which means I have 4 receivers I love. I have a tight end I love. Don't need to take another tight end to the last round. I'll be done with quarterback at this next turn, and then we're going to have to hustle to try to find a nice turn where we can go running back here. We will see what comes back to us at the turn. We're going to throw all these dudes in there. I actually, I've been getting very excited about Jordan Mason. I would even be willing to look at like a Jordan Mason QB2 plant, but that's going to be pretty early. I think we can get around to someone earlier. Okay, let's see. I think we have people wanting to join the leagues. Yep, this is my little. I throw this up all the time, just trying to get in. I'll look over it. The Sword of Damocles, nice name, great name. Oh God, I hope you join the 1 or 250 league. Sword of Damocles, I hope you join the leagues, dude. That is a Greek mythology name.
You got auto modded, bro.
Did I? Oh yeah, they do that on every post. Then I'm sure, yeah, Mike Evans hate. I only consider him an injury risk because I've had him for the first 3 years. When it's not a freak accident that sidelined him, it's like he's always questionable with his hamstring. I understand. I understand if you cannot go in on Mike Evans. I do get it. Pretty good views. 22,000 for like a random day post is pretty good on here. The weekend ones tend to do better. I understand if you can't draft Mike Evans, but I think it's a mistake not to. I really do. Laporta has been terrific in training camp. Me and Ted have placed some sizable bets on that this year. Deshaun
Watson will start. Let's go.
Let's see. Let's see, man.
That one Deshaun Watson roster is going to pop off, man.
Hey, Ted is. Let it be noted in public and to forever live on here. Ted is a Deshaun Watson kind of guy. What can we say?
hold on. Come on, you're painting that incorrectly.
Yeah.
Because when Deshaun Watson, like, I think when we started the show, you were a big Deshaun Watson guy, and I was like, actually, this guy stinks.
Yeah.
Actually, he's terrible.
Yeah.
I got out in front of that, but now you're just drafting at the last round as a throw-in, and we know Shador's a complete zero. So, I don't know. If you're excited about the weapons that the Browns, like in theory, if the Browns had a at least, I guess, competent quarterback, they have like an exciting offense. I feel like with the big Q there, Harold Fannin, 2 first-round rookie wide receivers. Maybe Denzel Boston was technically second round, but it's early second, so I'll just call it first, right? Like, they're starting to build. Yeah, they're starting to build the blocks of an interesting offense. It's just, does Deshaun Watson have a pulse? I think he's thrown like 10 interceptions or something in this training camp, so it hasn't been great.
Dude, the funny thing is, I love the Browns. Like, their offensive weapons as a total, you have a big-bodied X, an outside X in Boston. You have the slot guy who some people think is like a super athletic Doug Baldwin. That was his pro comparison. I like that a lot. You have really, I mean, Judy and Isaiah Bond are pretty good depth pieces. You have Fannin Jr., who's a great tight end. They have a good backup tight end there. I forget his name. And then I'm a fan of Judkins, and I'm a fan of Sampson. And then Spencer Fanu. Spencer Fanu is like a great tackle, specifically in run blocking. All you need is a quarterback that can actually distribute the ball there, and you are going to be absolutely in the money. Okay, so I kind of want to I kind of want Jordan Mason here, thinking he's going to be the Vikings RB2, which is very out of character for how I draft. But then again,
this is the easiest Dobbins in the world, my friend.
No, see, I'm not worried about. I'm like willing to run a little. Yeah, again, dude, I just don't think Dobbins finishes the year. Like that's my problem. I have Jordan Mason. I have Kyle Monangai. I like Monangai with Williams. We'll let it auto pick Goff. I really do think Jordan Mason starts for the Vikings. I think that's really interesting.
I think I prefer Bill to Jordan Mason.
Yeah, that's a pretty decided Mason for me. Okay, we will lock in the scores. We'll do Dobbins. I've been writing about him all summer as the zero or in hero RB's drafter's dream. We'll do Dobbins there. Obviously, I believe Kyle Monangai has higher upside. I believe Jordan Mason is going to be the starting running back for the Vikings. I think Kenny Gainwell is going to have good spike weeks as the receiving back for Tampa Bay with their horrible secondary. But that's okay. We need volume. We need to take scores. We're doing a hero build. Here it is through quarterback room. I feel incredible about. You guys know how I am on Goff. Caleb Williams, Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Dobbins, Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, Jamison Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Colston Loveland.
Dude, all that thing needs to do to get out of that pod is for J.K. Dobbins to stand upright all 17 games. He pinky promised us. He said he's playing all 17 games.
I was not aware of the pinky promise narrative. Oh, God, man. You talk about a bull case. A pinky promise.
Who would go to the media and tell lies?
That is awfully swell. A pinky promise. Indecent.
I'm telling you, man. I want to put my stamp on this right now. I think that J.K. Dobbins is the very obvious Javonte Williams of this year. He's old and he just has not been that good for the majority of his career. But I want to invest in this offensive environment. The Broncos just made a commitment. He was a priority to bring back. Like Sean Payton made it a point. He said, I want J.K. Dobbins back. I think that it is very clearly, when he is available, I prefer him to RJ Harvey on a weekly basis if they're both playing. It just seems like such an. I think that'll be an obvious one that people go back and they go, oh, like I should have seen that, and maybe he dies by week 10 or whatever, right? That's possible. It's in the range of outcomes,
Well,
but
he's actually top 10 in NFL history in yards per carry. He's actually been one of the better running backs in NFL history when he plays. He just,
he's just always had this stink
yeah,
on him.
he just doesn't play.
Like,
Well, no, because he doesn't play. Like, but when he plays, you're getting a very good product on the field, right? So, like,
I remember when he came back from the Achilles for the Chargers, and you were begging people to sell him every week.
oh, and what did he do though? Right, he didn't finish that season. I don't remember what he did, but I would assume because he's never finished a season.
Did he?
Oh, dude, he's never finished it. He had to have not. He's never taken over 200 touches. There's no way that he finished that season.
Let me take a look here. I'm sure you're right, but I'm going to fact check. Yeah, so this is when he was a Charger. They didn't even. Okay, I know how to do this. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like in 2024, which was his Chargers year, he missed weeks 13 through 16. So the fantasy playoffs, basically.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's not like a win though. That's okay. So two of my favorite A for both contingency upside, B I just think they play more, and this is a great way to reinforce a hero build. We get Chris Rodriguez as our running back 3, Tyron Tracy as our running back 4.
Like both of those clicks, those are both guys I click a lot.
Yep,
In Underdog.
that feels nice and comfortable to me. 21 picks away, so this is where you get in that range where I like some of these tight end 2s in here to reinforce Loveland. You can go basically 0 tight end after you pay up for a guy like this, but what I like to do is try to like make sure it stays a positional advantage. So if any of these guys get back there to us, we will throw them on. I like Juwan Johnson too for some like guaranteed volume. Not the most sexy pick in the world, but I like him.
I think that my recent Isaiah Likely drafting might put me in the slappy category because I think I just saw a beat report that said he's like looking like the primary pass catcher right now, and I just kind of took that and ran.
Yep.
Maybe it's a slappy thing, but I have been clicking a lot of Isaiah Likely and feeling very comfy about it if I punt the tight end position and end up with him.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I prefer just because you're like he's 20 picks behind them. I've just preferred Strange. They paid him well. They've good coach speak. He's one of Trevor Lawrence's dudes. That's just a very like safe pick for me. Puka Nacua could miss week 1. We know that. Ideal playoff tiebreaker head-to-head matchup calculated for the entire season. Unless you are playing large field fantasy, you're way too deep in the weeds when you're calculating your head-to-head matchup advantage for your redraft league.
Dude, I think that this Puka potentially missing week 1 thing is complete nonsense. Like, I think that Schefter was the one who said it, right? But Schefter said, well, there may be discipline for Puka and Josh Jacobs, right? That read to me like opinion. And Schefter has done that a couple of times, actually. Schefter, in my opinion, used to be like a gold standard guy where when Shefty says it, like, that's what's happening, right? But I have noticed he is starting to mix his opinion in there.
I just don't know. I don't know what he's reporting on. I thought, maybe incorrectly, I thought what he was saying was that the league was meeting to decide on discipline. And so that was all he said.
Let me pull up the tweet.
I thought that was because Josh Jacobs was in there too. It was Josh Jacobs, it was Puka, and there was one other one that they're still debating on that could all get.
Let me find the exact tweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how Stephon Diggs is not included in that, by the way.
Okay. Let me read this here. I got it from the California Post, who is just slamming my phone with garbage ads. Um, right now there are some things going on behind closed doors that we don't have full access to that are going to have a significant impact on the season depending on how these conversations go. And what I'm talking about is the potential discipline of a handful of players that we believe will be handed down, whatever it is, by the start of the regular season. And
Hmm.
then that's where he mentioned Puka and Jacobs specifically.
Hmm. I don't know what to
So that
make of
kind of
that.
sounds like he does have a source, maybe, but he's also saying it's behind closed doors and no one knows. So
Yeah, I don't know what to make of
I
that.
don't know. If I was putting a bet on Kalshi, right, because now you can bet on everything, I would bet Puka is out there week one to kind of cuck the Niners. That would just be on brand.
Yeah, that certainly would be on brand. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I make of that.
I'll be buying a dip on Puka if that's what's going to happen. That's for sure.
Yep, that I certainly would be doing. Yep. God, dude, this range of receivers is so gross.
Dude, yeah, I think that's why I just have so much Jalen McMillan. But realistically, right, like Naylor has an argument to be useful.
Yep. I still think like Travis Hunter will spike every now and again. They said that they're going to play him on about 30% of the snaps will be offensive, and that is from the team. If it's 30% of his snaps offensively, that's not terrible. That's like a, rotational player.
A lot of very smart people on Twitter seem to think that based on the depth chart that he is going to be playing the X wide receiver role when he is on the field. I think that would be a misuse of Travis Hunter's skill set.
It depends. It depends. Depends which scouts you follow for that sort of stuff. God, Dallas Goddard is a week 10 buy along with Loveland, but Goddard is such a good value here in my opinion. I think I kind of want to take him. I do kind of want to take. I mean, these guys are all like pretty safe picks to be getting work here, so I think I may take the shot that Travis Hunter has some spike weeks. I'm really not a fan of any of. I mean, Jalen Naylor gives you volume. I've been a Jalen Naylor guy all summer. We'll stick with it. We'll go Jalen Naylor
That was your secret sleeper you didn't want to tell me about.
there. Yeah, well, I was like joking about that, but yes, yes. I think I still think he's the most likely Raider to lead the team in receiving, like receptions. Certainly, I don't know about receiving yards because of the spike weeks from Tucker. James Cook for some Marion Hampton versus Saquon Barkley. That is Cook, Hampton, Saquon for me, very comfortably. Indecent Exposure just posted one of his drafts in the Discord, and I'm sorry, sir. I did not use you for this one because my Google browser was not correcting. Let the record show I'm a big fan of Indecent Exposure. Mod official mock drafts. Ew, why are we doing that on there? Read some moderators mock draft on here.
Could we go to r/Chico?
I'm not on
I
r
would be
slash.
shocked. I would be shocked if you were, but yeah, no, that place,
What I
that
don't
is an interesting one.
what I don't want to do is like search something that comes up with something that's like bannable on on Reddit. Um, Watson is taking the
I'm
second.
cur I am currently banned from r/Chico.
Yep, that'll happen. Fading CD Lamb. Is anyone else fading CD Lamb this year? Come on.
I'm fading the idea of drafting him in the first round because I don't like how my rosters turn out. Because I like just having the running back. That's not even a CD Lamb fade. That's like well, if I take running back here, then I can get all that wide receiver value.
Yep, that's what it is. It's a structural thing for me. Which late guys are you guys drafting in the last two rounds? Jadarian Price misses third practice. I don't think that the Jadarian Price injury is serious. I was not drafting him before he got injured, and I'm just not drafting him now again. Yeah, they said Tunsil's likely to miss the entire regular season. God, that's so bad. Denzel Boston with the ones. That's pretty good. J.K. Dobbins left with the trainers. He's already back. He was making fun of us for getting angry. Jordan Mason a standout through Vikings camp. Yeah, that's a bet I'm making. Hunter Henry extension, which is sort of interesting in light of the Eli Raritan news that's been dropping.
Eli Raritan feels very Epton Chisholm-y to me.
Maybe he looks.
Remember Epton Chisholm
Yes, I do.
last year was like people were talking about him.
I do. Raritan looks pretty good to me from what I've seen. Pretty good to me from what I've seen. Um, Sigmund Bloom. That guy has some weird takes. I've seen him on some videos. Upside battle Rice versus Walker. Different positions. No, you should. If you're talking about upside, you should take Walker. Um, he's gonna touch the ball like 20 times a game. Bunch of official thread bullshit. Tony Pollard, the perennial B, RB2, is he being underdrafted? I love discussions about players like Tony Pollard because to me it's like do you want to get what you pay for with almost no shot at upside, and what is that worth to you as a fantasy manager? And everyone sort of has a different answer to that. Some guys really just like getting what they paid for. They put their money in, they're going to get their money back out. They're going to get a RB2, they paid for an RB2. I always try to think about it like, again, if you're a hero roster and you need plug and play RB2 production, yeah, take a Tony Pollard. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. For me, it's like because I usually have two running backs by the time I get there, it doesn't really mean anything to like flex someone who doesn't give any like, win rate over expectation bump, which he does not. Tony Pollard is the definition of someone who does not do that. So I would always rather take the shot at the wide receiver, like the rookie wide receivers that are in there, or a Marvin Harrison Jr. or Brian Thomas year 3 breakout. I would always rather take that shot, or Jalen Warren, who I think can resume his top 20 running back production from last year. I think, very subjective, but I believe. I would even rather you're taking shots on like an RJ Harvey or a Jonathan Brooks, who like could, or Chuba Hubbard if you're a Chuba guy, guys that could become top 15 running backs this year or top 20 running backs if they really hit. Tony Pollard's going to be like a fringe top 20 guy. I get it, but I don't see ceiling there. It's just my style of draft, like drafter, the style of drafter I am. I don't know. Like, would you ever be excited about, like, I would never take him in my flex spot ever. I would never be like, yes, I get to flex Tony Pollard now. That is comfy.
Well, so the reason I would not be excited about Tony Pollard in the flex spot, and the reason why I think he's low upside, is because of how low upside I perceive the Tennessee Titans to be until proven otherwise. So like that's part of the reason I don't like Carnell Tate either. It cost.
No.
So in Tony Pollard, like I think he's like that tier of like average to okay running back, where if you put Tony Pollard on like the Rams, he might be able to do something Kyron-y
Sure.
there, but he's like the average running back on the worst possible team. So yeah, I much prefer the upside shots on in that case, right? Like, and I think Chuba Hubbard, even though he's average, could be pretty good.
I mean, I actually, I went to bat a little bit for Chuba in the. Oh, okay, I'm not going to go back and dig up the article. In the article for tomorrow, the players priced at their floor, I go to bat for a little bit on Chuba. He actually was a very explosive player. I've heard it said that he's not an explosive runner, he's a volume based runner. No, what he is he's the worst receiving back in the NFL. He is 51 out of 52nd yards per route run, and efficiency as a receiver, he's horrific. So, like, I think he gives up the receiving work right away to Brooks, and he's been that way for years. That's just Tony Pollard That's Chuba Hubbard as a player. But it's not accurate to say he has not been an explosive runner. In 2025, he wasn't because he had a high ankle injury. In 2024, he was actually one of the more explosive runners and one of the better runners in forced missed tackles per attempt in the NFL. So I do think it's worth noting, like, if you believe that it was purely a high ankle thing, which I don't know if I'm willing to call it purely a high ankle thing. It seemed to me like the team just opted for Dowdle, but that was also after the injury. If you believe that Chuba's production dipped because of the injury, not because of the player, it's not really accurate to say he's just a volume guy. He was actually one of the better runners at explosivity and broken tackles per attempt in 2024. But what I think is not disputable based on the numbers, he is a terribly passing to Chuba Hubbard is like almost a net negative for your offense. I think I think Brooks will take his lunch money in terms of passing work right off the rip. But Chuba,
maybe.
Yeah. But if Chuba is 100%, I think maybe it's being discussed a little bit incorrectly what kind of rusher he is, and we're over indexing on someone with a high ankle. Listen to that CeeDee Lamb interview with Matt Harmon from last year. CeeDee Lamb was worried his career would not be the same after his high ankle last year. It was so bad, he was worried he would not be the same player ever again. And Chuba played through one of those at a position where it matters way more in running back. So yeah, if you think that, yeah, Chuba's absolutely an upset. Like, I would take Chuba over Pollard if your evaluation is it was just an injury thing.
I here's the fact I was looking up. Chuba Hubbard was tied for second on the Panthers in receiving touchdowns last year.
Well, sure.
Got 30 balls in
Yeah.
like what was it? It was like 3 weeks, and he was splitting time, and he was the preferred third down guy. But I think that part of that might be because Rico Dowdle
It's
cannot
horrific.
block.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
horrific. Yeah, yeah. Okay, no weird rookies to pull up and stack here. We do have the 2 week 10 buys for tight end. The problem is I really don't like taking another tight end when I've invested the position so much, and it's only really Kate Otten here. I mean, we could maybe do a late round tight end just to not take a 0 week 10. But we already have J.K. Dobbins out. We already have Loveland Goddard. I don't know. Would you be taking another tight end in this case? I don't know.
nah.
That's three tight
I
ends with
I don't
Loveland.
think. Yeah, what is your third tight end going to do specifically in week 10 for your lineup?
Yeah,
Right,
it
like
would add like
maybe like 4 or 5 points.
like
Yeah.
5 to 7 points to my yearly total. I don't know if that necessarily matters as much as like what if a handcuff running back really hits. So Sean Tucker would be the big one here. It looks like Braylon Allen is gone. No, he's not. Okay, so that'll be our turn here to complete our hero build at running back. A nice and comfy Sean Tucker into Braylon Allen. That gives us, so we have weekly float. I believe Dobbins will play at least 6 to 8 weeks if we get lucky, 10 or 12 weeks this year. Chris Rodriguez, who should be a boom bust touchdown guy. Tyrone Tracy Jr., who I think there should be a lot more discussion about how much he's actually playing this year. I think it's a lot more than he is currently priced. Braylon Allen, clear handcuff to an injury-prone Brees Hall, and Sean Tucker, who has actually demonstrated the ability to go for 40-point spike weeks. That's why I keep jamming him back here. Nice and recovered. We have Caleb Williams for ceiling, Jared Goff for floor. I'm very, very happy with a Colston Loveland Dallas Goddard room. That's awesome. And I think we battled back and backfilled at receiver pretty well here. Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, Jamison Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jalen Naylor, Isaac Tesla, Tank Dell. We will see who the universe wants to drop us off at the end here.
How about some Brandon Ayuk?
Yeah. Hey,
80% chance he plays this year, right?
I still believe there is. I still don't, but I need him to like show up and be able to show up to camp and, be sane enough to get reinstated. Anyone else terrified of Jay Jettis and CD at their current MVP? Yeah, dude, just take an RB1. What are you doing? What
I
are we doing?
mean, Jettis, yes. CD, I'm not scared of the ADP. It's just like a roster construction thing, as previously mentioned.
Yep, I would be way more likely to take Lamb round 1 than Jettis. Week 2, 2 weeks in, no update on Pierce. That's not true. They gave one yesterday, but that was 3 days ago to his credit. Bowers versus McBride. That is a clear Bowers for me. I guess on some platforms, McBride is actually tight end 1. Debo getting RB carries while CMC rests. Yes, Debo will almost certainly be getting RB carries this year. I would be actually shocked if he does not get maybe a 3 to 4 carry a game at most, but probably more like 2 to 3 carries a game. I could see him rushing the ball 50 times this year.
The Debo reverse is one of my favorite 49ers plays.
Yep. And the screen work, like they would do those like forget what the term is. I think it's called like a slant screen. There's a term for it. The one he hit against the Eagles. They get the offensive lineman running out really quickly. Debo slants in, catches the slant, and goes. That's one of their favorite routes with Debo. He's very good at it. I could definitely see Debo getting some work, which is technically a handoff if it's behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah, Debo's. I would guess he's going to get 40 to 60 designed looks out of the backfield this year. Oronde Gadsden 2.0. Egbuka will become a superstar in 2026, assuming he does not have turf toe, sir. Assuming he does not have turf toe.
Very bold take of him, by the way. I don't hear anyone talking up in Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah. Hey, man. See, that is like a big pet peeve of mine is when you get on something really early and you get really confident about it, and then everyone starts talking about it, and then it's, hey, man, look at you with your casual, everyone has it take. It's like, no. I was ahead of the storm, whatever you want to call it. Rashad Bateman, Ted Hurst. Who are we going last year? I do like a little Torrey Horton. I was taking Elijah Surratt. That's such an L with the way Jacoby Lane has come on here at the end. Certainly a Keenan Allen if he were here, but he is not.
What about Jeremy Bernard?
No.
I'm sorry to any Jeremy Bernard truthers that ever come into the show. I don't mean to disrespect you too much.
Nope. I mean, honestly, Jacoby Brissett with. Should I do the Brissett Marvin Harrison stack at this point? It's so late.
I mean, it's free. You can do that or Beck.
No, we'll just go Ted Hurst. Okay. All right. There is a first round pick, a good, a very rare one for me. Tried to do it like a true hero running back. I believe we accomplished that, and actually, I'm pretty happy with the running back room. Jameer Gibbs, Nico Collins, Rushy Rice, Colston Loveland, Jamo Williams, Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, Goff, Dobbins, Rodriguez, Tracy Jr., Goddard, Naylor, Tesla, Dell, Tucker, Allen, Hurst. We're going to eat the week 10 bye. Probably cuts 5 to 10 points off my annual total. But, like, say Ted Hurst has a big touchdown and then goes for like 16 one week in my flex instead of 10. That covers the whole difference. I will live with it. Okay, that is a free Tendies fantasy. We did 3 drafts today. Normally we just do 2 of them and stay on here for an hour. So article drop today on Reddit. Second article dropping tomorrow morning. The big draft guide coming out on Saturday morning. It is exactly how I would draft a fantasy draft. You can listen to me, you can not. I'm not trying to tell anyone how to think. I'm trying to share with them how I think. Spots in the free Tendies leagues are filling up quickly. We have people paying up. We have people jumping in. I'm deleting non-paying accounts like crazy. I've been getting a lot of hate mail about it. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. I'm not waiting for an adult to come up with $50 to get back to me. If you cannot come up with $50, please, so I don't feel bad, do not play fantasy because I will end up taking your money. Me and Ted are in multiple of these. I'm putting up $1,500 of my own dollars. If you believe that I draft like a clown, come and take my money. You're welcome to. If you read my stuff and you're like, God, this guy does not know anything, great. You can have the $1,500. There's 20 grand up for grabs, and I'm in every single league. If I'm a free win, that is every single league. You have like a 8.5% better chance to win because you have a dork in there. Come and take the money, please. Come hang out with us. We will be doing these every single night for the rest of the year. Please like and subscribe if you're so inclined to join. The Discord is down in the comments. The Substack's down in the comments. The Yahoo Leagues are posted. The Free Tendies Yahoo Leagues are posted on Reddit, the Discord, and here. Ted, any closing comments to leave the world with? How do you feel about homeless encampments in your... No. Anything you want to leave us off with?
If you feel so inclined to subscribe to the channel, there is a little bell next to the subscribe button. If you click that bell, your phone should notify you when we go live so you can come in the chat and talk crap. If you want to do that or say hi or what's up, we're usually pretty bored, so we're down to read chats. But yeah, and then once the season starts, we'll have some regular videos going out.
Yep. Thanks, guys. We will be back.